Welcome. If you're just tuning in, first of all, I can't really see the chat, so if I'm not responding, don't get upset. And I felt it was a worthy topic, why I'm starting to hate humans. You know, I used to always wonder, like, why do these people identify as aliens? You know, why would they possibly want to sort of like, you know, actually I used to identify as an alien, and I still might identify as an alien because, well, actually, I've been like an immigrant for like the last 5 years in several countries. So in reality, I really am an alien. Um, but you know, humans, like, God, there's so many reasons. Like, where do I begin? Um, I could start with the fact that I used to love all these different people. I used to love them. Like, they were my friends. Like, for example, like growing up poor in the deep South, like, all my friends were African Americans, and we were like in the struggle together, and it was like fully okay. And now it's not okay to struggle together. As a matter of fact, white people don't struggle anymore. Apparently, we're all born into some perfect middle class family where we don't have, and let me tell you, in the deep South, like, alcoholic fathers and stepfathers is sort of like a thing. Okay, so this idea that people are somehow born into some happy middle class family, like, this is a reason that I am starting to hate humans. It's like the whole world is like struggling with all kinds of shit. And it's like as if we didn't have enough reasons to like be pissed off at the world. And people have to find new reasons and new people to hate. And it's incredible. The fact that Twitter is killing itself, like, this is another reason I hate humans. I don't understand, like, it's like you're only allowed to be funny if you have a British IP. Because my friends who live in England, like, they can say all kinds of shit because, like, those words, like the word cunt or the word faggot, those words are like a normal part of the culture, you know? So if you're from England, it seems, you can say those words with absolute free reign, and nobody cares. But if you happen to be like from an IP from a country of people they hate, then forget about it. Like, you're going to be banned like once a week. Welcome to my world. I'm like, okay, I think that Twitter actually hates Jews. I think that they're like really like Nazis. They're like gassing Israeli IPs, you know? I'm serious. It's I think that that's like the ultimate discrimination, you know, which is really sad because Twitter used to be this great place where we used to be able to express ourselves. And it's like 9,000 levels of irony that it says we want to make Twitter a great place to express yourself, but don't express yourself in a way we don't like. You know, this is fucking bullshit. I'm like, that's just one of the many reasons that I'm starting to hate humans. Let's see. The fact that people demand an entitlement, and then you offer them a solution for their entitlement, but then it's not good enough, and then they judge you and ridicule you because they were using the thing that they didn't need an entitlement for years before, and they were fine with that. And then I'm like, well, then why are you asking for the entitlement? And they seem to be like utterly oblivious, like they are mentally like challenged in this area. It's very very, very disconcerting. Other reasons I hate women. I hate women. Yeah, some of them are a problem too. I hate to say it. Feminism. There's another reason that I hate humans. You know, it like started out as this thing. Although if we want to be really honest, like, it started out as this thing because basically child labor was banned. Okay, and they needed to like replenish the workforce. So they basically convinced women they were oppressed. And then in the process, women then fought for their freedom. And their freedom was actually to be enslaved as equally as the man. And then on top of it, they act like men never suffered. Meanwhile, before they started fighting for the right to be equally enslaved, men in the labor force were literally being shot in factories for trying to ask for a little bit of freaking rights. Like, this is a reason to hate humans. They like ignore history. History is like important. It actually helps you understand how we got so fucked up. Okay. Now, women remain freaking oblivious to this. They act like the whole world wasn't enslaved. And we can like tie in everyone who ever bitches about slavery into this reality, okay? Because before the Africans sold Africans into slavery, there were a ton of white slaves in England. There were even importing the Irish people as slaves. And guess what? They could kill an Irish slave and nobody cared because it was more expensive to import an African slave. The whole world has been enslaved for thousands of years. People have been enslaving the tribe next door to them. Everybody's been a freaking slave. No one is oblivious to freaking slavery. Okay, I'm in Israel. These people have been enslaved all over the world for thousands of freaking years. And then the whole world hates them, hates these most enslaved, murdered, genocided people. I don't fucking get it. There are so many reasons to hate humans. But yes, feminism, which basically said, I don't have a right to be a woman anymore. I no longer have the right to stay home and take care of my children. I no longer have the right to have a man who actually feels obligated to take care of his children, to take care of me and those children, because I want to be equal. So therefore, I want to be equally enslaved because the whole world is full of freaking slaves. That's another reason to hate humans. They're like utterly enslaved. And God forbid you want to like live some fantastic dream. You go chasing your dreams. You're only allowed to do that in America, by the way. And I'm telling you, like 4 countries, 4 continents, 7 countries later, persecuted and oppressed for chasing my frickin' dreams and not being a slave, okay? The whole world is enslaved, okay? People are like bitching about slavery and then they're buying products that actually enslave people. Nobody cares about modern slavery. Nobody cares about people in sweatshops in China with suicide nets outside their door. No, they only care about the slavery that happened hundreds of years ago while ignoring thousands of years of slavery in the process. You know, these were my people. Like, I used to fight for their equality. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting to hate everyone. I used to love everyone. I used to want to free them all from their fucking suffering. And now I'm so sick of humans. Like, is this really what we've become? A bunch of hateful, complaining, whiny, entitled, spoiled, rotten people. I mean, for example, the Germans, they fucking have everything. They get like money every month. They pay for their house if they're out of a job. They like totally take care of these people. And they are the most miserable people on the planet. Maybe because they're never allowed to dream, but we've already discussed that. Reasons I fucking hate humans. Like, I used to love people. I used to love them. What happened? People are going insane. Is it the fluoride in the water? Is it all the antidepressants? Like, what the hell is happening? Like, I'm 40, you know, maybe it's just easier to be hopeful when you're young, or maybe my generation was actually the last generation that was allowed to be freaking hopeful, because look at these kids, they're like losing their shit. They can't even handle, you know, I mean, another reason I hate humans, Okay, there's a white man. He's the president. He's talking. Everyone's losing their minds. He's actually saying real shit and actually doing the things he says he will do, while, like, for the last 3 decades, none of them did what they said they would do. As a matter of fact, they completely sold us out. They sold out our jobs. They sold people into frickin' prison slavery. They sold out the children in the educational system. I have watched this. I have had children in this dysfunctional system. I've actually defended, I was told once by a teacher, you don't want your son to hang out with him. He's like, he was an African American kid. My kid is like super open-minded. That kid was getting bullied all the time. He was labeled as being a bully because he was poor and because he was struggling because his parents got a divorce. The teacher just put him in a freaking box and threw him to the side and didn't give a crap about him. Meanwhile, my kid felt sorry for him and even started trying to protect him. And then when the teacher says, no, he's a bully, my son says, no, everybody picks on him and beats up on him all the time. This is another reason I am starting to hate humans. Like, all of this hypocrisy, no matter how much you fight to, like, love and bring equality to people, like, it was really disgusting for me because, like, I was like always in this sort of anti-racist stance and like trying to like unite the balances and like trying to tell people, hey, you know what, you can't look at a person's skin tone and tell where they come from, because you can't. Like, we've been intermingling for hundreds of freaking years. People who were black 400 years ago are freaking white now. It does happen. Okay, it is possible. All right, you cannot look at a person's skin and claim that they owned slaves 400 years ago. Maybe they were like my ancestors and they were freaking Irish slaves, okay, or Native Americans who were literally freaking murdered. All right, you can't look at a person's skin tone and like define their history. And you also cannot blame people who are alive today for shit that happened like ages ago. Okay? Nobody wants to oppress anybody anymore. But people are like clinging to oppression while supporting modern slavery and then bitching about the guy next door when the guy next door just wants to be left the fuck alone. You know? People are projecting so much shit. It's disgusting. I mean, there's so many reasons to hate people. And I used to love everybody. Like, I used to think, like, I used to be very idealistic, apparently. It's been a very hard awakening, I have to admit. I was part of a generation where like people like struggled and they actually helped each other out and they actually cared about each other. But now it's like everyone's so freaking materialistic and self-absorbed and fucking addicted. They don't even give a fuck about anyone anymore. They really don't. I mean, in Israel, believe it or not, it's the most compassion I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm not even Jewish. I mean, my soul might be Jewish, my ancestry is obviously Jewish, but still, even as a secular freaking atheist, these people were kind to me. You know, I had nothing, absolutely nothing. And these people didn't look at me like I was some kind of piece of crap. I was suffering. I was like traumatized. And they're like, oh, you cry on the street, people care. Okay? How many countries can you go to where people actually care? I can tell you, one day I got stuck outside and I was sitting on the street in freaking Amsterdam and like 100 people walked by and nobody freaking cared. The only person that ended up caring was a guy who had been homeless before. Nobody cares. This is another reason to hate humans. Like, what has happened to you? I mean, no, actually, humans are a freaking savage species. It's actually ironic, 9,000 levels of irony, when people are like, oh, you should be more humane. No, humans are freaking savage, okay? They are savage. When governments like kidnap people's children. Here's another reason to hate humans. What do? They automatically assume that the mother's a bad person without actually realizing that it's a freaking industry. You can talk all day about the prison industrial complex, but you can't even imagine that children are being exploited for profit by NGOs who extort money from governments. This is another reason to hate humans. People don't care about mothers. I listen to some of these people, they're like, oh, you're a single mother, you're like a screw up. No, okay? It takes a lot of balls to have a child alone, okay? A lot of balls. You should have compassion for those mothers. People should actually help each other out. But they don't, you know? Nobody cares because they're too busy being freaking selfish and only caring about their own selfish materialistic needs, you know? There's so much we could do. Like, there's like 6.5 billion people in the world. If everyone put $1, one freaking dollar, those who could afford it anyway, because some people live on $1 a month, we could end world hunger. And we talk about this or that or this or that. We could end world hunger with one freaking dollar. This is another reason to hate humans. Like, what is wrong with you people? Like, I used to believe that we were actually like some kind of like advanced species, and then they took all the intelligent people and then they drugged them into like addiction, and now they're all like lost. And you know, and they think they're damaged when they're really like fucking geniuses who were like not able to fit inside of a box. It's like illegal if you don't fit in a box now. And then all these supposedly rebellious freaking people, they're like creating new boxes, and they're like, oh, you don't fit in the right box, so you're a fucking Nazi. This is disgusting. You know what? Yes, I was criticized for calling people Nazis. You know, I called the Germans who kicked me out for not living with a man, I called them Nazis. They were traumatizing. They like abused me for being an artist and for being a free spirit. The freaking Dutch, they kidnapped my children for moving to India, for falling asleep in class. Yeah, they're freaking Nazis. Okay, but when you call someone a Nazi for not agreeing with you, for challenging your distorted tunnel vision worldview, you can't even call that a worldview. You haven't left your house in like 10 years. You know, you sit behind a computer reading a bunch of things on a screen and then decide you know everything about the world. This is another reason to hate humans. And what's sad is other people with tiny worldviews decide that person's telling the truth. You know, get a worldview, go outside, for Christ's sakes. Try to make a relationship with your freaking neighbor. Everyone in Holland, they have a neighbor who makes their life hell. Like, what kind of community is that? New York City, people don't even talk to their freaking neighbors. You know, what is this? We're freaking humans. Like, we need other humans, like, to feel something, you know? I actually attempted this. In the last month, I decided like not to leave my house and to like experiment with this as a world traveler and an international DJ who like deals with lots of people. And every fucking person I meet that's suffering, I generally try to empower them. But now I'm like totally broken because half of these bitter fucking people cannot stand that somebody can like fucking be strong in the face of insurmountable freaking odds while also creating like an incredible freaking life. So they're like, hey, let's just destroy this person because then we can prove to the world that it's impossible to chase your dreams and that it's like futile to have compassion for the world. So yeah, there's another reason I hate humans. You try to give them love and compassion, and what do? They freaking attack you and attempt to destroy you. The last person I loved, the one I married, he's literally spent 3 years trying to destroy my life simply because I left him. And I left him for being cruel and mean and ruthless after like years of like trying to like be delusional about how perfect everything was. you know? So, and what do? They claim they love you, and then they try to destroy your life. I have been good friends with almost everyone I've ever been with, and this man decides he needs to destroy my whole life. You know, what kind of love is that? That's another reason to hate humans. Like, people don't even know what the fuck love is anymore. Love is like something, it's like bigger than all these stupid little control freak fucking things. You know, like, you're supposed to encourage each other and like empower each other and like make each other feel good, not be like completely like oblivious to life, to like, oh well, they're not, you know. And that's the other problem. It's like they're falling in love with some idea of love, and they don't even fall in love with the freaking person, and then suddenly they're like, oh, you're not the person I fell in love with, because they never were. It was like some idealistic little vision in someone's head. They never actually gave a person a chance to be the person that they actually love. Like, we have been so brainwashed. There's another reason to hate humans. Like, everybody's talking about everyone cheating all the time. I decided to watch TV once. Like, I haven't had a TV in like 20 fucking years. And I decided to like sit on the internet and like watch sitcoms one winter. And I watched, and like every single show, right down to the president of the United States, everyone was cheating. And I was like, are they really cheating? Or does like everybody just like brainwashed by all this television? I'm like thinking, you know, about all these innocent people that are accused of cheating and how that actually ruins relationships. It's like my ex was so freaking like oblivious to how cruel he was that he assumed I left him for someone else. I've never cheated on anyone. Okay, let that be known. But no, it's like, you know, half of these women that are accusing men of cheating, I think they watch too much TV. I think everyone watches too much TV. I'm just like in a state of shock. Like, what other reasons are there to hate humans? Jewish people. Jewish people just want to be left alone. They like want to pray and do their thing. And there are these like not really Jewish people, and they really haven't even prayed probably in a really long time. And like the moment they landed in America, like 400 years ago or 200 years ago or during the Depression or whatever, they like didn't pray. They didn't keep Shabbat. They don't even, some of them have even like converted to Christianity. And you claim that this is enough to hate Jews, like 4 fucking rich people in the entire world, and you hate a whole culture that's been hated for their whole existence. And if I look at them, they're like the most, like, you in Israel, for example, you can't tell who's rich or poor. You could go inside a place that looks like total shit, and inside it's like freaking gorgeous, because they're not like Americans or other people where they have to have this perfectly manicured lawn outside and have all this like, look at me, I'm so fancy. You know, but the irony is even the poorest people in this culture will actually take the effort to look nice. So you can't tell who's rich or poor. Everybody like respects each other based on their whatever, their religion, their lack of religion. It doesn't matter. People freaking respect each other. And like, they're the most hated people in the world. Like, what the fuck? What kind of conspiracy shit are you watching? You're like sitting there hating the people who just want to be left alone in peace, while you're glorifying the people who are like raping and murdering and like blowing shit up all over the world. I have a lot of Muslim friends, so I'm not saying they're all the same, but like, really? You hate the people who just want to be left alone and protect themselves, and their whole fucking country is willing to stand up and fight to protect their families? And then you like glorify the people who like promote the fact that they want to kill everyone who is not in the same belief as them. I don't get it. It's like another reason to hate humans. I'm like starting to hate everyone. I used to love everyone. I used to like want to help everyone. And now I just like, ah, I don't even know sometimes how to stay on this planet. Like, SpaceX, please fly me to the fucking moon, okay? And then I'll throw moon rocks at people, and maybe it will like, you know, because apparently this is like a viable solution for all the problems on Earth. Oh my God, that's another reason to hate humans. Like, these people, they actually think they're intelligent. They actually think they're so intelligent that they're actually trying to like lead America. Okay. And I'm not talking about Trump. Actually, he's kind of intelligent. He looks really stupid, but that's because he's a troll, and all trolls look stupid. But we are really smart, and this is something that should be known. But that's another reason to hate humans. Like, I didn't even like him, but he was funny and he attacked the very foundations of the things that I think are the core problems within our country. And that's actually intelligent. And that's another reason to hate humans, because all these freaking SJWs and feminists and whatever Democrats, they were all bitching about this shit for like 20 fucking years. And we finally have a president who says, hey, look, this shit is fucked up. These people are killing people. These people are lying to you. And just because it's a white freaking male, it's like, ah, he's evil. You know, he's saying the same shit you've been saying for 20 years, but you can't stand him because he's a Republican and he's an outsider and like he's rich. You know what? There's another reason to hate humans. You act like all rich people are bad. In truth, it depends on what industry you're in. If you're in the pharmaceutical industry or in the military industry, your interests are probably in killing people, making them sick, and destroying people. Okay? But for none of you have researched the investments of this guy. This guy was like invested in freaking toilet paper and real estate development and infrastructure. These are industries that need to be in power in America because that's where everything has been screwed for like 30 years. But most of you aren't even old enough to know that. I've been around, okay? The potholes are fucking huge in several states. And I was in a bus, so I know this. There are so many reasons to start hating humans. There was definitely a long period of time where I was like, I'm an alien. I cannot identify with these people. And this may be true. And Jews may be aliens too. And this might be why everybody wants to kill them and hates them. You know, they're actually fucking amazing people. And I'm like really sick of all the fucking conspiracy putting down these people, because at the end of the day, when you've got fuck all in 4 continents, by the way, and nobody is there, these people show up in my life like out of nowhere and like help. You know, I was lost on the street in Africa and these 2 Jewish guys show up, and not only do they help me find my way, they become like my best friends and like show me around the whole freaking country. Okay? When the Nazis in Holland, like chick calls me right in that moment. She's like, how are you? And I'm like, wow. And she's like, apparently she had a master's in Dutch law and knew how to read Dutch. You know, and if it wasn't for her, I probably like wouldn't have survived that then. You know, so like, how can you hate such an amazing freaking people? And they just want to be left alone. They don't want to take over the world. And if they wanted to take over, please tell me how they're going to take over the world from this tiny little speck. It's like nobody looks at a freaking map or something. This is a tiny little place in the middle of the most hostile region on the planet, and everyone around them hates them. You know, leave them the frick alone. Support their autonomy. I mean, it's not like they haven't been murdered and enslaved for thousands of years. That's another reason I hate humans. Do you know how many years of my life that I thought like Zionism was some sort of militant faction of like Jewish people that were like as bad as everyday terrorists? And I say terrorists because I don't want to trigger anyone using that word, but really. And then I come here and you know what it is? Zionism? It's like a bunch of people who haven't had anywhere to go, who've been enslaved and oppressed and screwed over for thousands of years. Only in the last 100 years have they been allowed to thrive, give or take like a small speck here and a small speck there. And all Zionism is a bunch of people who want a safe place to freaking exist. So you and all your safe spaces, because you can't handle somebody, that is their safe space. Israel is their safe space. Give them their freaking safe space, okay? Because you have not been murdered and oppressed and enslaved all over the freaking world for thousands of years. If anybody deserves a freaking safe space, it's freaking Jews, okay? And if you want to hate them, please fuck off, okay? Because you're obviously drinking the Kool-Aid, especially if you're like ignoring the fact that women are being raped all over the world by assault Muslims. And my Muslim friends, please don't take offense, but this is the truth. And most of them, they understand it. That's why they're also rejecting their religion, which is actually sad. But that's what I really think. And this is another reason I hate humans, because the reason they want people to reject the religion, the reason that they put militants in charge of differing religions, is because when you reject religion, you can be utterly enslaved to materialism. And what happens when you're utterly enslaved to materialism? You become selfish, compassionless, cold, valueless, savage human beings, which I would say is the ultimate reason that I hate humans. And actually, I used to love everybody, but I'm really, really starting to hate humans, you know, and it's sad. And you know what's at the root of it all? Your freaking hatred. People want to love you and you hate them because of their skin tone. People want to love you and you hate them because of their sex. What is this? It's like incredible. You know, I mean, I want to have a whole nother dissertation on why feminists are damaged, because honestly, like, yes, men have fucked me over, but men have also had my back more than any other species. And while men were having my back, women were hating me because I was either intelligent or pretty. And I wasn't always pretty. Like, I'm 40 now. I got pretty like recently, you know? I mean, I guess I was always pretty, but I didn't know it. So what's the use? If you don't know you're pretty, then you don't really get to bask in the beauty of being pretty, which is another reason feminists are damaged, because they actually like, I don't know, that's a whole nother story though, but that's another reason I hate humans. I mean, when I was a kid, it's like I ran with a whole group of dudes. Like I was one of the guys. That was the way it was. Like now I'm like, I don't even know what the hell is going on. What's even sadder is I used to be able to roll with dudes like nonstop, and like it wasn't about like whether we were going to sleep together or any of those things. And it's like all this like feminazi crap has like created this like utter dysfunction. But see, that's another reason, because they actually like orchestrated that divide in the whole thing with the feminism, you know, because it was like it, and this is where it gets really gross, because in truth, it's all Willie Lynch psychology. You know, it really is. And it's like it was perpetuated on the African American people, and then it came in through feminism and other things. And now it's like everybody is like divided and distorted by this program that was written by a freaking slave master. Like everybody is enslaved to all this falsity, and it's really making me hate humans. And I like used to love everybody. I used to love everybody. Please, like, wake up. Like, get rid of all this divisive bullshit. Like I've said that. I've said that to the African American people, where I used to like fucking fight next to them, where I used to be at the Mumia rallies, where we all like went against the WTO during the whole like birth of globalism. Like we were all united. And then suddenly you can't be a part of our movement because you're white and we hate white people. And I was saying, you're just going to make yourself a target. Like, this isn't gonna be good. If you really wanna change things, like, everybody has to come together. And now, like, I can't even support any of this stuff anymore. Like, I used to support so much stuff. Like, I used to really believe a lot of bullshit. I mean, that's what I think. Like, I used to believe a lot of bullshit. And that's another reason that I'm starting to hate humans, because everybody's being fed, like, so much bullshit, and nobody researches anything. Nobody, like, questions anything. Like, a few years ago, we used to be like, question everything, and now suddenly they're like, no, it's a white male, don't question. You know, like, what? Wake up, you're all going crazy. And this is what's making me start to hate humans the most. Like, the most intelligent, loving, beautiful people are being crushed to the point of, like, you know, killing themselves. Do you know how many people have killed themselves? Like, nobody cares because they can't deal with the insanity that everyone is perpetuating. Stop being a savage species. Like, read some values. Like, I don't care if it's like Jung explored this, okay? You have Nietzsche, who said God is dead, who died insane, and you have Jung, who actually used belief to actually treat mental illness, and it actually has been proven successful. You can Google it. Like, people with belief are healthier people. They survive traumas better. They actually endure difficulties better. They're healthier human beings. They're not as brainwashed as everyone else, even though everyone wants to say they're brainwashed. They cannot be enslaved, and this is why they want you to hate them, and this is why they want you to hate religion, because these people have a ruler. They have another ruler, and they cannot be enslaved to the slave master. And that's why they want you to hate them, and that's why they want to destroy religious values, and that's why humanity is becoming more and more savage every day, just like they were before they had belief, when they were like sacrificing their own children. Okay, belief came along and said, hey, you don't have to do that, even though it was like, but like, really, I don't want to hate humans. Please stop giving me so many reasons to hate humans. I beg of you.